What's up, guys? It's Chad, and it's the beginning of the new year, and it's time for me to switch out Bibles. That means I'm going to be moving from this to this. And I talked about this in my last video. I'll pop a thing up to it up there so you can check it out. But I'm excited to talk about what it means to change Bibles out. But what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be setting up my new Bible. And I'm going to throw up my overhead rig, and I'm going to kind of show you all of the steps and the things that I do to get a Bible ready for the new year. And a lot of this will be really specific to why I like to use the Cambridge wide margin, which I am very, very excited to have another hardback Cambridge wide margin turkey buzzard in my Bible stack for this year. So I'm going to try to get somewhat of a decent talking angle with you, but also have my overhead rig up so you can see what all that looks like as I talk through the things I'm going to do to set my Bible up. So I've got all the things that are essential to me here to set up my Bible. But what I want to talk about first before we get going with all of this really is, the way that we are going to set up our Bibles, especially if you're doing the one Bible in a year thing like I am. The way that we set up our Bibles really is a reflection of how we read and what we read. For me, I'm in my Bible every day, and the whole thing of the one Bible movement that I don't know if I started, I'm passionate about, I'll tell you that much, that's just a big deal to me, is that I've got a spiritual record of my life over the last year. I'm going to do another video where I walk through my 2021 Bible and talk about just the things I've learned as I flip through that and I see that. But for me, this Bible primarily is a record of my own spiritual development, but I'm also a pastor. And so that's going to change things. That's going to affect things as well. And so I want to do these things so this Bible will serve me, because that's the deal for me. There's several different layers and levels of reading scripture in ministry, but for me, the very bottom, the very foundational layer of reading scripture is I'm coming to scripture as often as I can because I want to encounter the living God. And every single thing else that I do through scripture, but everything in life also, is going to flow through that encounter. So I set up my Bible because of that. I want to encounter God. I want to read a lot of scripture, and I'm also a pastor, and all of the work and stuff I do really is a record of my own spiritual development and spiritual transformation of the year, but I also kind of use it as a diary of sorts, and you'll see that as I talk about it. So I'm gonna grab one more thing, and we're gonna get to going setting up this. I've not even read this Bible yet. So it's late at night on January the 1st. I'm ready to read this Bible, but I want to set it up first. I want to set it up with y'all just kind of watching and doing this thing with me. This Bible, to me, looks like an 8th grade earth science textbook. And a lot of folks in the last video said I was expecting for you to make a brown paper cover for it. Y'all, we might just do a Bible experiment later on this year, but I'll tell you right now, if I put a brown paper cover on this thing, it would last like 2 weeks maybe. I mean, I destroy everything. So we're gonna do this, not because I'm trying to hide it. It's not punk rock or anything. Just want to make sure I know what's going on. So, boom. And if you saw my video on how I mark up my Bible, you can find my Bible key there, or you can just screenshot this thing and find out everything that you might want to know about the way I mark up my Bible. So I notate things a lot, and so I've got little stickies, I've got little flags, that sort of thing, and these stay in my Bible, and I use these for all sorts of different things, that kind of stuff. But I know I'm gonna need some of these, and a lot of times I have these in my bag, but a lot of times I don't have them in my bag. And so I found this out from Matthew Everhard that these jokers stick pretty well. And so I don't really have a kind or a preference. I will tell you that the official Post-it ones, they do seem to hold up better. I've got some generic ones though that, they're all right. And there's no random method to that color coding. It's just, they're just there. And I'm gonna stick, not too many, really I'm probably just gonna peel off this last one that's not in good shape anymore. And I'm gonna stick some Post-its there, because I'll write notes and I'll put those on there as well. And so that's how I'm setting up the front of this Bible. And so much of this is aesthetic to me. So people also were saying the last one, saying, Chad, we want to see this Bible. We have not seen the inside of this Bible. So we're gonna show the inside of this Bible. I'm gonna show you one cool thing I wanna check on real quick is if we're opening this up. In my research, trying to find out about the Cambridge wide margin reference hardback, whatever sort of thing. Okay, so this is there. And I'm gonna bring this up into there so you can see it. So this is what I'm discovering. You see how that says the NIV Pitt Minion Wide Margin Edition? That is where I think we find a lot of changes with the Cambridge wide margin. I'm looking to see if I have any of my, so the old NIV I showed in the last videos at home, but here's this New Revised Standard wide margin hardback that's old. I can't figure out exactly how old, but like it's old. But if you see in there, it says wide margin minister text. And so I think that actually might be the publishing designation, because you see, I'm gonna pop this back in here so you can see this page. That whole wide margin, Pitt Minion wide margin reference edition isn't there. So for people who are a little curious about the history of the wide margin, that's it. So here's the thing, so let's look at this. So what we're gonna find here is not the comfort print text. People are asking questions, is this the comfort print text? And it's not the comfort print text. And it really does look a lot like this is a familiar looking font to me. Let's throw up last year's and just see. I'm not sure, but I think that is the exact same font that I have in the English Standard Version wide margin hardbacks. So that's there. So for folks who wanted to see the inside of this, that's what the inside of it looks like. I will tell you a couple things that I have noticed that I'm not necessarily wild about is this, because every one of these editions is different. So you see right here in Isaiah, books start right as another book finishes. I'm not really excited about that. If we pull out the ESV, let's see if we can find, wow, so we're in Isaiah already. So let's see if we can see how Isaiah starts. Okay, Isaiah is on its own page. So I might be making this up, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure that in the English Standard Version hardback, or just the English Standard Version printing of the Cambridge wide margin, that the books don't start in the middle of the page there. So that's kind of a bummer, but hey, this hits almost all the marks. I'm not gonna be picky at all. So let's go through this. So here's your New Testament, your red letters. Some of us who mark up in our Bibles in a certain way, we're not necessarily wild about, but yet again, I can deal with this. I can cruise with this. It's all right. So the last bit of setup is this. Now, I want to show you one thing that I'm a big fan of, is these are those indexes that they give you, okay? When I first started using the Cambridge wide margin in 2020, I didn't realize how useful these would be until almost the very end. And so I didn't use them that much. And then last year I used them more, but not as much as I would have liked to. This year I want to use these more, because this is one of the reasons I wanted to find this, this NIV version. It's because I valued these pages. But like I said, this is a diary. This is a tracking a spiritual journey. So I'm not going to put anything in there that the Spirit's not speaking to me yet. I've got some stuff I'm interested in, but you know what? I want a fresh year. I want a fresh page, and so that's there. So, and I've done this in all of my Cambridge wide margins. I started it late in 2020, not late, but not at the beginning of the year. Started at the very beginning of the year. Like, I'll tell you, this isn't like a braggy thing. It's just a tracking thing. But like, there's my page spread from last year's Bible. So you see, I've got a couple of gaps that I missed. But I want to go in there and count. But like every single day I read scripture is in there. And thankfully, because of the graciousness and goodness of the Lord, I really feel like I was in scripture a lot more last year. Now what I read was a little bit different, but that's there. So that matters to me a lot, the days I've read. The next thing is something I picked up from Matthew Everhard is this, my travel days, okay? And that's a place for me to mark that in there. I've had that in my other previous Bibles, and so that was something that mattered to me. So I'm gonna look through real quick to make sure. I think I have, yeah, I need to add something else in. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna make this line my quarterly lapse. And I like to read the Gospels. Look, I even started the wrong Gospel. I like to read the Gospels in sequence a lot throughout the year. And this is just how I can just make note of this. This is an accountability thing for me, if anything else. And I'm waiting on a really cool new Bible to come in that I thought was going to be in before Christmas. We'll do a video, but it looks like Tyndale's not releasing the filament scripture journals until March or something. So I'm going to have to do the first several months of the year using this Bible for that. But that's all right. I'm cool with that. I also think that I'm going to do a 120-day read of the Bible in there. So I've got that going on right there. I'm looking in the back, and I have a few things that I'm going to put in here that I know matter already. So I'm going to leave these pages blank, and I leave these blank because I want to give myself space to do other stuff. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put, and these are just things that I know that I am focused on. I'm thinking about devotionally and intellectually right now. I'm going to think about scripture and anxiousness. So that's a theme I'm trying to understand from a biblical theological viewpoint. So I've got that right there. I'm going to lay that down in there. And then I'm also going to put a place for sermon ideas for me to go ahead and jot and put that back in there, and the place that might need to be. And the next place, this is a new thing for me over this year, is practical conversations. So how does the Bible inform important but practical conversations about faith? Over the years, I've become more interested in the how and the why. So like in this past year, I've got a handful of them in here, but it's like this: why isn't God doing anything yet? And I'm just popping scripture references down in there. Second one, how do I start encountering God? And I'm just dropping down scripture references and outlines there. A third thing, what does confession, forgiveness, and restoration feel like? And I'm dropping that down in there. And so that's what I use the back of these sheets for, is really just to kind of put these places I'm interested. So that's what that looks like. Thanks so much for coming and hanging out. My Bible's set up for the new year. I'm about to let you go. I'm about to start reading this Bible and using this Bible. So I hope you enjoyed kind of a deeper look into the Insights Cambridge Bible, which is just a sleeper, wide margin, hardback. But if you like videos like this, make sure to drop below, subscribe, like. I would love to have you come and hang out in the other places I am on the internet. You can join my email list. All of that stuff is in the description box below, but I will see you back in the next video.